Welcome back to another episode of the Humble Hustle podcast. We are your hosts, Nick and Kayla.
Hello, hello.
And today we're going to try and keep it brief, but we're going to talk about our gear. And more specific, we talked about gear before, but more specifically, what our exact kind of gear lists are for our personal production. So, like, I'll talk about some product studio stuff. Kayla will talk about some fitness kind of interview brand stuff, and then we will also discuss wedding gear at the end.
Yeah. I think we do have like a couple of things that are different in terms of, you do a lot of in-studio stuff, and I'm more of like on location, shooting people, filming people. I always say that. Do you say that?
I say that all the time.
It just sounds so wrong
I
out.
just remember there was this one, it was like a trend a few months ago, and there was this one, it's like a comedic reel about that type of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to take out my 50 and shoot some kids. We'll shoot some kids in the park, yeah?
No, you can't make that kind of joke.
And he's like, no, you can't do that. Like, what? My 50 millimeter. Shoot some like kid portraits, like family portraits. Shoot that family in the park. Things like that. It's
no, I say it sometimes and I'm like, I probably should explain that, give a little context.
I still feel like a little scared carrying my gimbal out in public, because when I fold it up and
same.
I hold it a weird way, I admit, but the way I hold it
could look like a weapon,
like a gun.
Yeah.
So
no,
like,
I'm always careful. When
I
I'm
purposely
walking.
have to spread the feet out when I carry it to make it look less gun shaped.
Yes. The other thing that doesn't help photographers and videographers is all of the backpacks that are designed for us look like bad. It's like criminal.
A little bit.
They're all black. Like, as a woman, I guess I have an edge because it's usually not women who are doing these bad things. And I don't think I look very suspicious in general. But, like, can you make some cuter backpacks, perhaps? Like, a nicer color that is also functional? Because I have cute backpacks that I use for my cameras in the past, but they're not functional at all.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a side tangent. Also, start with our camera bag. I have the Peter McKinnon bag, which I love it. You had it first, and you let me borrow yours, and that's what made me want to pull the trigger on it. It fits all of my things.
Oh, you have the
Nomad? What is it called?
The smaller one, though, right? Like the...
I think I have a bigger one.
Oh, okay. I can't
She's
tell
large.
From here. I have the PGY Tech. It's essentially the PGY Tech brand version of that bag. They're the same thing.
Okay.
Like, exact same thing.
Yeah, I love that bag. It fits everything. It gets so heavy. That's the only downside.
It does.
But, I mean, comes with the territory. That's why I go to the gym. It's all good. So that's the backpack I have and I've been using. It's held up so far. Like, I haven't had any issues with anything breaking, and it comes everywhere with me. So
that's good.
It's very durable. Yeah.
Like I said, do you want to just run through your stuff first, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have...
So what type of shoots is this stuff used on, for starters?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm just making sure Luke didn't text me. Okay, cool.
We have a guest coming in 30 minutes, so we're trying to squeeze this episode in.
We're trying to squeeze it in, guys. So in my camera bag, I have two Sonys. Love my Sonys. I have an A7 IV and an A7.
Can you say what type of shoot these are on?
Yeah. So I'm typically shooting business stuff. I do business clients, and then I also do wedding video clients. Mm-hmm. So my camera bag setup for my weddings is very different than my commercial clients, but I guess I'll start with the commercial setup. Most of the time, I'm just using my two cameras, a couple of tripods, and I have a few different sets of microphones that I use, and my Godox VL series lights. It doesn't really get much more complicated than that for me for my setups, and obviously I have my gimbal for stabilization purposes. But
I want to say like what cameras and lenses you actually use, though.
Yeah, so I have the Sony A7S III and the Sony A7 IV. A7 IV obviously great for photo quality, like high photo quality. So if I'm doing more of a photo centered shoot, that's the one that I use as my primary. But it also works for video, so I use that as my B cam when I'm shooting, a multi-camera setup. I use my A7S III, obviously, as my primary camera for all of my video clients. So that one is great for pretty much all of my video stuff. and my weddings. So looking to add another camera to my arsenal this year. I'm just waiting to see what Sony does in terms of, dropping another camera. We were kind of talking about that off the mic. So I'm going to give it as long as I can because I do want to run. Right now I can only do a 2-camera setup at weddings, but I want to be able to run, a 2-tripod setup at a ceremony, have one on the groom, one on the bride, and then be, obviously gimbal for other shots. So that's my goal. And then for microphones, for run and gun stuff, I use the DJI mics, the Bluetooth wireless mics.
The Mark 1 or Mark 2s?
I have the Mark 1s.
Okay.
And then for an interview style setup, I will most likely use my Tascam DR10Ls for that.
Do you think you'll ever switch like a boom mic setup for live or for interview style stuff?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely will. Because you gave me the pole that you weren't using and everything.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. But I do like that style, at least as like a backup, if anything. But right now as my backup, I just use shotgun mic.
Yeah.
So, which is kind of risky, but it is what it is. But that's really it. I have a lantern like we're using here as a softbox, and I have just a normal, a hexagon softbox. I don't know the size.
It's probably like a 36-inch.
Probably.
Yeah.
Just an average size.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's me.
All right, I'll dive into mine. I have a small list here. I came prepared. So as you probably already know, the main stuff that I'm shooting is product stuff. A lot of it is in studio. I won't really talk about the lifestyle gear that I use. It's more run and gun, I guess. So the primary stuff I use is I have 2 A7Ss. I want an A7 IV or an A7R something. I need something for photos soon. So maybe definitely in the next year, I will get a photo designated camera. But for right now, 2 A7Ss, and I use Luke's A7 IV when I need it.
Perfect.
Basically it's like crazy now. The only lens I pretty much use is the 90mm macro. Like that lives on my studio camera. Like it basically is the only one I will touch. The one I will use in addition to that is usually the 50 if I need something slightly wider. But yeah, it's like that lens is magic for product stuff. It's so perfect. And I'm shooting at like f9 or f11 pretty much all the time anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really sharp.
Talk a little bit about that, because I feel like a common misconception when you're getting into product photography, or a lot of the times like even food photography, a common misconception is we always want to have our aperture super wide open and like
I mean, yeah, for like everything else, you shoot wide open. Like that's just, you want that blurry background. But for specifically using a macro lens, you just can't. If you are at like 2.8, your plane of focus is going to be such a sliver that, like, let's say you had like an aluminum soda can, like maybe that front letter that's right on the front of the can will be in focus, but as soon as you round that bend, even the slightest, everything else is out of focus. And like if you were maybe f2 on like a person's face, the tip of their nose is in focus, their eye totally blurred out.
Yep.
So like you need to shoot at a higher f-stop.
Yeah, and I've made that mistake before, even like taking a picture of someone, of two people next to each other, or like a smaller group of people, and being too wide open. Like the person who's in front, even if they're like all next to each other, if one person's even slightly in front of or behind the other, they're not going to be in focus. They're not going to be sharp. So I've made that mistake before. Yeah,
I pretty much exclusively shoot like an f8, between f8 and f13, 14. If I have enough light, I'll shoot that high. But the lighting makes it hard because you need a ton of light.
Yep.
Because I'm primarily shooting a lot in slow motion, which means I need a high shutter speed too. So I'm shooting in either 120 frames per second or sometimes 240. So my shutter's at like 1/500, 1/600 sometimes.
Yep.
Combine that with f13, I need so much light to make it visible.
And you can't crank your ISO too much because you don't want it to look noisy.
I mean, I have like 5 lights blasting and I'll still go 12,800 ISO.
Damn.
and that's still barely enough. Like it's
wild.
crazy.
That's so wild.
But yeah, so let's see. Yeah, the 50 mil, the 90. So I use a slider. It's Edelkrone. It's technically the slider plus, but I pretty much only use it for really mechanical push-ins and push-outs. I don't get too creative with it just yet. I hopefully will do a bit more with it in the future, but right now it's just for some simple push-ins, push-outs. And then I use the Lazy Susan head. Basically, it's called the Head 1, also from Edelkrone. And that I use a lot. It's just a thing I can link to my phone and motorizes a spinning motion.
Yeah, that thing's great.
It's come in handy so much because it's like it's like a big squarish type thing. And it kind of looks deceiving. You would assume just like this upper circle is the thing that spins, but no, like the entire square spins and like underneath the base stays still. So I can put like a really large thing on it and it will balance fine. The whole thing will just spin.
It's perfect.
So it's helped a lot. When it comes to lighting, I have this small rig light, but I pretty much only have Godox lights outside of that. I pretty much only have used 300 watt lights or higher. I need higher ones, honestly. Like I have 2 300s, 1 200, and a 150 and a 120. And there's times where I'm using all of them.
That's crazy.
Like it's crazy. But there's been times where 5 or 6 lights have been set up with a purpose.
That is crazy.
And it's still barely enough. Like I need like a 600 watt light. So that's my next purchase for sure.
Yeah.
But I shoot a lot of like beverage stuff and food stuff in studio specifically. So to avoid weird reflections on these reflective surfaces, mostly aluminum, you don't want to use circular diffusion. Like if you're interviewing someone, you want that circular catch light in the eye. Like right now, I see it in your eye looking at you. And that's what you want for a person because that's more natural with the circular eye. You want a circle light shape. If we had like a rectangular strip, I would see a weird rectangular line reflected in your eye, which doesn't look normal. So you want to pretty much match the shape of your light to your subject. So with the aluminum can, you want like a strip light, a rectangle light. So I have 2 by 3 foot rectangle soft boxes that I only use for studio stuff. And those are perfect for creating a nice line reflection, not like a hard circle dot on these cans. And the other key thing is to double diffuse. So I have a lot of other diffusion outside the softbox. I have what's called translume paper, which is essentially like, think of it like a cookie sheet, like parchment paper.
Yeah.
It's very similar, honestly. It's like very thin paper, like tracing paper.
Okay.
It's like just a very, very thin piece of white paper, pretty much, that you just put in front of your softbox and it diffuses it even more.
Okay.
And that has been a game changer. As soon as like you put the rectangle light up and yeah, your can looks good and all, then you roll in the second layer of diffusion, it's so much better. And it's crazy the difference it makes.
Yep.
Then I also have, it's called a scrim. It's like a 4x4 fixed metal frame. Same exact feature as the translume paper. I just use both of them interchangeably. That's a little more like rigid, I guess. But yeah, so the double diffusion is honestly the key thing. And I have like similar to the 5-in-1 like reflector thing where you can just twist and fold it. I have a twist and fold green and blue screen.
That's
so
awesome.
when it comes to, needing to cut out a can on like a green screen, blue screen, I have that lined up. Just light it. The key is to light the background really well, but that's over there. And then I have so many like weird things like props and stuff. Like I have coolers. I have like plates, so many cups, so many fake ice cubes.
Fake ice cubes, the fake ice.
So many fake ice cubes, which actually don't look great, like I will say. But
you only use them in certain shots, and sometimes you use the real ice.
Yeah,
right?
the real ice looks so much better.
Yeah.
But I've found use cases for the fake ice, that isn't like not in the traditional ice way.
Okay.
So like being a clear little square, I've used it to like put something on top, like using it as a platform.
Okay.
It's like weird things like that. I've found use cases for them.
Gotcha.
And then I have a lot of these, like, I'm calling them pedestals. Like, if you look over there, the blue and white boxes, that's just like
To
things
elevate, put things on.
yeah,
Yep.
just to place the hero cans up on, things like that. I need more, but
Well, I'm sure colors matter too. when
exactly.
you're
So
doing
like
these,
I
yeah.
got the blue very recently because my favorite color paper to shoot on now is this like bright blue paper that I have, and I think it looks so good
Yeah.
on everything. Like every
I do
product
really
pretty
like
much
it.
looks good on it.
Yeah.
So now I got these blue pedestals to go along with it because it just matches.
Smart.
Yeah.
Really smart.
Oh, I guess the other thing I have is it's called V flat surfaces. Don't use them too often, but they're hidden currently behind that scrim. They're basically like fake surfaces. So they're probably like maybe 3 feet long by 2 feet wide. And I can just put them down. They're good for top down photos.
Yeah. Think flat lay for
Exactly.
wedding photographers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
If you want to spice things up.
yep. I have like fake wood, fake granite look,
Nice.
things like that. So the recent one I've used it on is I shot for like a restaurant. And I shot like pizza and stuff on like this nice black textured stone like thing. And it looked way better than like their tables. No offense, they had gross tables.
No, that is something that's good for me to think about getting, is because occasionally I will have a shoot for like a restaurant or something, but
Yeah.
it's good to have, because you're right. Like some of the tables are not cute.
And even if they are nice and cute tables, bringing these, like, it's very easy to transport. It comes in
Yeah.
a bag. Even if you bring them, it's just an additional thing to do. So
Right.
you can get all the nice, cute photos with their real furniture, whatever, tables and stuff. But you can give me more variety by giving them some backdrop stuff too.
Absolutely. 1000%. Because you don't want the same background for everything, especially if you're doing like I did a shoot for a sushi place once, and we had the same background for all the photos, and afterwards I was like, I probably should have tried to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like we had action photos of people of their employees like making the sushi and everything, so that was good, but I was like, I definitely should have brought something else. But they were also shooting it for their menu photos, so like I kind of wanted it
okay.
to all be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same.
yeah.
It was tough for one person to do. Like
For
I
sure.
definitely could have used some assistance.
Restaurants are not my forte. I've done a couple.
I thought I wanted to do it exclusively, and now I'm like, fuck no.
They're not fun.
It's just so much work and pressure, and like people who do it have such an eye for, we were talking about earlier, like food styling. Like that's just not
I'm not a like.
Me.
Look, I do food and beverage photography, but I will give the credit to Luke. He is the food stylist, not me. He's the
okay.
one cutting all those fruits and stuff. I don't touch it because I'm not
Yeah.
good at it.
Yeah, you have to think about every little detail too.
Yeah. So like my thing with the restaurant stuff, my problem was I was never good at like timing it, because especially things with like hot food, like cheese specifically, hot melted cheese on like a burger.
Yeah.
Looks good when it comes out fresh, but if it sits for even like 10 minutes, that cheese will cool and harden
And look
and
like
then look
shit.
gross.
Yeah.
And I was not good at like timing everything
They
out.
don't even use real cheese in like real commercials. It's like all fake stuff.
Yeah. So
You'd
like
be
it's really hard to
shocked.
do with the real thing.
Yeah. You'd be
Especially when
shocked.
it's like in the moment live in a stressful kitchen restaurant environment.
Yeah, and they have dish after dish after dish coming out, and I'm like, okay,
I
I'm
would tell
done.
them like, okay, we need like, let's do like 3 at a time and give me like 15 minutes in between each.
Yes.
That was not long enough. I
No.
needed more time.
It's crazy. Oh my God, no, it's so stressful.
But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my studio stuff.
Okay.
I'll shout out one last thing. I have knockoff, what's it called? Shit. The blocks there. What's that game called? On the Fridge. Do you see those? What's
I
that game
can't
called?
see. What game? On the fridge?
Yeah.
Oh, Jenga?
Jenga.
Ah.
So random here. I have knockoff Jenga. I got it from Five Below. It's called Tumble Tower. Because I didn't want to spend the extra $1 to buy real
Oh my
Jenga.
God.
But it's hilarious because I've used those almost every shoot now.
Really?
They're like perfect for lifting things off the ground, like just an inch or two.
Huh.
So I use them as like platforms.
So you got creative with that. That's smart.
Yeah.
Huh. You never know. Like, I'll be using the most random stuff sometimes to like make things work. You just kind of figure it out. I know you had mentioned your 90 millimeter macro lens.
Yeah.
If you had to pick a favorite lens for the majority of what you do, which lens would you choose?
Well, for product stuff, it's a no-brainer. I would definitely say the 90 mil macro.
Okay.
Outside of that, the 50.
Okay.
I have a 50 1.2. I don't necessarily use it at 1.2, but traditionally, since I started camera stuff, a 50 millimeter was like my preferred focal length.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to say for what I shoot, I think my favorite lens is my 24 to 70. Just because it's so versatile. And I know
Yeah.
people like argue and they will die on the hill of like prime lenses are the way to go. But for what I
Yeah.
shoot, I love the 24 to 70. It's good for everything that I do.
I will give it a lot more credit now than I once did. I am one of those people that prefer primes for sure. But on a recent kombucha shoot, Luke has one, thankfully. He whipped it out because we needed some variety. And as soon as we started using 24 to 70, it was like, okay, I'm putting my camera away. We're only using that. Like,
Okay.
that can do it all.
Haha. Yep.
Yeah.
She's a great lens. My go-to.
I'm still not convinced to get one yet, but I'm getting there.
When I get another camera, I'm probably gonna have to get another one of those. Yeah.
Okay.
The only time my camera bag weighs even more than it does currently is when I'm shooting a wedding.
Yes.
And the only other thing I guess that I would say I really level up with my setup is my audio. That's really the only change that I have to make. I also have a couple of different lights, but I, honest to God, could not even tell you what the fuck they're called. So we're going to just skip over that. They're the ones that Jake and Nate have that they're battery powered and you can just like put them up and they're smaller. But I use the Zoom F3 to capture audio at a wedding. I have, the cords, what is it? The Matt Johnson Condor Blue pack, right?
Yeah.
So I have that pack that you can use to plug into the DJ's system or speaker, whatever they allow you to plug into. And I capture the audio right from there. And then I also have the KitKat, the Sony
TX660.
Thank you. The name was escaping me. It's just like the little tiny vape-looking object that captures audio. So I actually have a sleeve. So I put that in the sleeve and then put it on the microphone as a backup audio if, God forbid, something were to happen to the audio on the Zoom F3. And then I'm also usually running a lav mic on the person speaking when possible. So I really do have 3 forms of audio when I'm shooting my weddings, which audio is arguably more important, I guess, in my opinion, than video. Because like you can fix some of the video stuff, but you really, now that technology is getting better, it's easier to fix bad audio. But if you really fuck up the audio, you're screwed. So I make sure I have backups on backups for audio. I've learned the hard way.
Yeah. I guess my wedding kit is definitely different than my studio kit. I don't need any of these lights really. So for weddings, we run 4 cameras, all A7S 3s. And like I said just now, my preferred focal length is the 50. That's pretty much what I rock all day. Like, fortunately, Sam, my wedding business partner, he's the one that is willing to switch lenses more often than me.
Okay.
And I'm just better at shooting 50 millimeters. Like, I'm good at filming on that, so I don't really want to take it off.
Right.
So if he's willing to switch, it works. We have 2 35 millimeters. That's more or less the combo we run, 35 and 50 for most of the day. We have 2 just in case for whatever reason.
Yep.
I sometimes throw on the 35 for getting ready.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
Sometimes it helps because sometimes the 50 in a really small space.
Yeah. We will bring a 24 to 70 and we bring 2 70 to 200s.
Yep.
70 and 180s, same thing. Our lights are the brand called Lupo.
Okay.
Don't necessarily recommend them, but they are what they are.
Yep.
They're just small, like, rectangular LED things, LED panels. Any small light will do that's battery powered. And we use these things called cheetah stands to use them. Super easy to just pick it up and run it around. I didn't mention this in the studio stuff because I actually don't use it all that much, but a Ronin, a gimbal.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a RS3 Pro and RS4 Pro.
Okay. I have the RS3.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we run gimbals all day.
Mm-hmm.
Besides our ceremonies, big tripods, things like that, but gimbal all day. And then we have, 4 Tascam DR10L Pros, and we try and mic up as many people. Like, we try and lab mic as many people as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll mic up the groom, we'll mic up the officiant, and if the bride is willing, we mic up the bride too.
See, I don't mic the bride. I've never mic'd the bride.
I still don't like to. Like, I really don't. But I admit the audio is significantly better. I know. But the process of doing it, even asking them, I don't like doing. It's very invasive.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like it's just going to be like,
a process.
I would be uncomfortable wearing a wire like that. So like, I know it's probably not the most comfortable thing for them to do. But if they're willing, we do it.
Right. And there was an instance for me where I was like, damn, I should have mic'd the bride because they did a first touch and they read their vows to each other from like around a corner. And I could like barely get her audio to work.
That happened to us before we started micing the bride. They were like back to back.
Yep.
So yeah, it was
like,
very hard to capture that. But I also have an Zoom F3, but that's our backup audio recorder. We have a Tascam X8.
Oh,
which is our main one.
Okay.
Because I initially had that, and we had 2, but mine kind of broke, so I got the F3.
Okay.
So I use the F3 on my commercial stuff too, but for weddings, we still use his old X8. Cables, audio stuff that you said. That's about it.
Yeah. It's a lot of gear on a wedding day. It's a lot. I have my whole wagon that I bring. It can be a pain, but...
Oh, see, I don't bring a wagon on weddings.
You don't?
No. I feel like I don't know. We have a really big grip bag. We have a really big bag, but it's not a wagon.
Yeah. I just bring it because it's easier for me to keep all like my, the cases for my lights and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I do bring my...
I just find like the bag, at least we have the option to like hide it under a table or something. Like,
true.
With a big wagon, like my wagon, I wouldn't be able to tuck it under a table.
Yeah, I've always found a place to hide it somewhere that's out of the way.
I just find like one of those tables that has like a super long tablecloth. Yes. I just lift up the tablecloth, slide it under.
Yep. Gotta be out of the way. Yeah.
That covers our gear.
I think that was it. Yeah. Well, we hope this was helpful. And if you have any questions about gear, we'd be happy to chat. I'm always open to like gear. Discussions about gear. Yeah, I'm always like, interested to see what other people are running. But let us know if you have any questions or like leave a comment and let us know what cameras you are working with.
If it's not Sony, we don't want to hear it.
No. No, we're open to all cameras except Canon. Fuck Canon. Just kidding. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.